Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you guys are doing well today. Well, the 12-month moving average has officially gone positive. After a pretty rough year of 2020, we finally have a 12-month moving average for Swiss watch exports that is positive. Overall results were fairly good for the month of May 2021. If you compare it to 2019, not so great, but I think that's just what you have to expect when you have a pretty rough last year of export results for the Swiss watch industry. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is going over last month's results, and then I'll also go over last month's results, which were for April 2021, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth into what May 2021 looked like for Swiss watch exports. I've been doing this for a little while now, so I think we've kind of hit stride when it comes to the way we structure these videos. So April 2021, we saw sort of a recovery that looked fairly positive. The Swiss Federation for Watches have basically compared 2020 results to 2019 because of the terrible year 2020 was. So if you compare 2021 April results, you saw about a 2% growth, which I think is fairly optimistic, and that 12-month moving average is really moving closer to that 0% mark, which I think was fairly optimistic. You saw obviously metals kind of reflected that 2% growth. But what was pretty interesting is if you looked at watches over 3,000 Swiss francs, this was where a lot of the growth really came from. So I think it might have to do with those who have money are able to spend it. So looking at the most recent results that we can see here, which is May 2021, Swiss watch exports amounted to just shy of 1.8 billion Swiss francs. This is a similar number to last month, which was also around 1.8 billion Swiss francs. If you compare this to 2019, like I said, it was actually a negative growth rate of just shy of 12%. This is a fairly interesting result. I think May 2019 was an extremely strong month for Swiss watch exports. So being that there was a decline of 12% is sort of, I guess one could say, expected. But the fact that Swiss watch exports were still on that sort of same level of 1.8 billion, I think is a positive result for the recovery of the industry. Like I said, the 12-month moving average has moved up into the positive mark. I think it's around 7% is the 12-month moving average for Swiss watch exports. It's really nice to see it back in the positive era. The low last of this entire year was around 24%, 23% in January 2021. So not a great number to be looking at, but I'm glad that we're at least getting into the positive territories of things. Price categories I'll go materials first. Materials sort of reflected a similar story as what I've said. Units saw a decline of about negative 36%, and if you look at the value, around negative 9%. Precious metals and steel made up the bulk. If you look at total value, precious metals 626 million and steel at 672 million. Interestingly enough, if you look at the units, steel obviously led the way, and then other materials, which I think was kind of interesting. I think obviously if you look at the difference between units sold in precious metals and the value sold in precious metals, you can see that the average price of a precious metal watch is obviously fairly large. If we move over to price categories, similar story to the negative 12%, you're looking at declines across the board when it comes to price categories, some as high as 43.5% in units, which is not great. But what's interesting is, again, the over 3,000 Swiss franc price category saw units fall by 0.3%, so basically unchanged, and value fall by about 3.4%. For such a strong month that May 2019 was, these are pretty good results for this price category. I think, again, this kind of tells the story. Those who can afford to buy more expensive watches are still purchasing them, and the lower price segments are just not seeing that type of volume or growth. If we move on to the main markets, Top 6 markets: China, USA, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, United Kingdom. Interestingly, it was basically split down the middle. Three markets saw positive growth, 3 markets saw negative results. China, US, and the United Kingdom saw positive variation between 2019 and 2021, and then Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore saw negative variance there. Some interesting results: Russia plus 82%, which I thought was kind of interesting. Ireland over 1,000% growth. This is obviously, it is a smaller market, and so it doesn't make up a ton, but pretty interesting to see. It's always nice to see that sort of thing. The top 6 markets made up about 57.3% of the entire Swiss watch export market for the month of May. This is huge. 1 billion Swiss francs went to these 6 markets, which I mean, if you look at the names on this list, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, already 4 of them are in Asia, resilience of those markets, and then US, United Kingdom. Kind of makes sense there. They took away the 2020-2021 variation just because it was so large. If you are interested in knowing, it was a plus 174% growth if you compare May 2020 to May 2021. So smaller than last month if you compared it. And then the last thing we'll do is just go over the regions. Oceania and America saw variation, positive variation, whereas Asia, Europe, and Africa saw negative variation in their results. I thought this was kind of interesting to see, honestly. I guess the United States has been fairly good at their vaccine rollout, and so they've been able to maybe recover at a faster pace than other markets have. So a plus 7% variation might have to do with the fact that maybe May wasn't as great as a month for the US in 2019. But it's nice to see that there is some sort of positivity for the Americas. Interesting to see that Asia was lower, and Europe was lower, which I think might have something to say there. If you look at the total share, again, Asia making up 54% of the total market. Huge amount of watch exports go to these markets, and so huge reliance for Swiss watch industry on the success there. Similar makeup between the other nations as well. So moving on to my predictions for June. We were a little bit off on our predictions for May. We said about 3 to 4% growth for the month of May 2019, or excuse me, month of May 2021 if you compared it to May 2020 or 2019. So we were off by about 15%, which is a fairly large margin to be off by. We looked back at June 2019 to see what the Swiss watch exports actually were. It was around 1.7 billion Swiss francs, so right around what we were at for this past month. I think while there is a recovery in global economies, I think watch exports are going to probably be around the same at about 1.8 billion Swiss francs. I think that is, yes, things are coming back, but I think it's coming back slow. And so I think June 2019, you're probably going to see about 1.8 billion Swiss francs. Again, this would come out to be about a 5% growth rate, which is going to be my prediction for June 2021. Hopefully I'm not as far off as I was for last month. So let me know in the comment section below what you think what you thought of the results for May 2019 or 2021. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Let me know what your predictions are for June. May was strong in 2019. June is going to be, I think, something similar as last month. So love to hear your thoughts on that. If you are new to Life from the Wrist, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like videos about watches. We cover a range of topics. You can check out our channel for the types of videos that we make. And if you wouldn't mind sharing this video with someone who'd be interested in Swiss watch exports or watches in general, that'd be greatly appreciated. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for us, it really does help us out with our YouTube analytics. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.